Great. And let's see, for the board members that are present, Diane, our board president, is here, and me. Ben is also here, Ben Carr, Tammy Dye. Let's see, Jessica Anakar is here, and Mila Stegall is here. So I think all of us are here. Welcome, everyone. And the usual reminders of our code of conduct and that we use the democratic rules of order to conduct our meetings. So that's our process of that. I had offered to read the land acknowledgement. I can do that with or without a quorum. So while we're reading, I can proceed with that. So I'll take a minute to say, let's see, please join me in acknowledging the Coast Salish people. The land we occupy today is their ancestral land. For thousands of years, they lived on it, stewarding its resources with care and wisdom. Today, with gratitude, we acknowledge them and their elders, past and present and emerging, and recognize that this land remains a vital part of their cultural sovereignty. Thanks. All right. Tammy, how are we doing?
22.
Okay. Let's see, do we have a few guests from off island. So Karen Brubeck, who is, you said you're in Eastern Washington, Karen, thanks for joining, from PSE. And I think I saw
Blanco Domingo is here too.
Yes. Do we have anyone else from off island? Any other visitors from off island who are joining today? Okay. We can run through community happenings. That's a note, we don't need a quorum for that. So a couple reminders of things coming up. We have the Vashon Pride Street Dance on Friday, the 7th of June in the backlot of the Vashon Theater. And next week on the 19th, I guess that's Sunday, is the recognition of the Day of Exile, which was the day that I think 111 of our community members of Japanese descent were taken off the island and put into camps during the war. And so there is a recognition of that at Ober Park at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Let's see. Are we getting close, Tammy?
Nobody knew that I've seen.
Okay.
Did you get Steve Bergman when he came in?
Nope. 23.
Okay. And we need 25?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just double checking everybody.
How about if we go ahead, so we stay on track? We can go ahead. We have Chief Matt Vinci here from Vashon Fire and Rescue, and he is going to kick off the meeting with an overview of their community risk program. We can start with that and come back to approving the minutes later once we have a couple more folks join, if that's okay with everyone.
Yes, and Tammy, I'm going to just leave people, have you admit them once you check their membership status.
Okay, thank you.
So we just got another member, Steve Rubix. Just joined the meeting.
Did you put him in?
Yeah, and he's a member.
Okay. So, Vinci, thank you for joining. And I think we have about 20 minutes or so for this. It would be great if you want to give us an overview and leave maybe about half of that time for questions. I'm sure folks will have questions for you as well at the end if possible. So I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. I'll do my best to stay within that time frame. I have several slides to share. As introduced, I'm Matt Vinci. I'm your fire chief on Vashon Island, proudly serving since June of 2022. Been in the fire service for close to 30 years, and really honored to be able to serve the island. I know that the title was community risk reduction. That's a very big kind of overarching topic. Tonight, we're going to talk specifically about our mobile integrated health program, which has been up and running since February, and some of the successes and what MIH is, and the work we're doing to serve the island with MIH. I just will note quickly that community risk reduction includes wildfire risk reduction, CPR, our trip and fall program, several other fire prevention and education programs. At some point, I'm more than willing to come back and talk about the larger community risk reduction program. But tonight, I was asked to concentrate on Mobile integrated health. Bear with me. I hope this this slideshow works without an issue. Well, I'm having a little bit of problem there. If you can see my first slide, we'll stay with it in this version for right now. Because I am, let's see, there we go. So mobile integrated health has been in the King County area for over 5 years, at least as a King County emergency medical services levy funded program. Historically, Vashon had not taken advantage of some of the funding and services available to support this program. And there is a lot of history around that as it relates to funding in the EMS levy. It's partially funded through the EMS levy, and it's partially funded through the fire levy. And we were able to include it in the fiscal year 2024 budget for Vashon Fire. As it says here in the first bullet, it's a partnership with King County Emergency Medical Services. There's a very robust working group in King County on MIH. I'm going to talk a little bit about what MIH is. It strives to create a healthier life for folks at home, to provide healthcare services in their home. And the model that we're following right now, I'm going to refer to as the referral model, where we have internal and external referrals. There's another model that we are looking to potentially expand to in the future, and that would be more like a response model. So it would augment our 911 services and support healthcare delivery on the island. MIH team, I'll talk about our team. You see in the photo right there, that's our nurse, Ashley.
Actually, Chief, we're not seeing the slides. We're still on your first slide.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having
Okay.
I think for some reason they're not advancing, so I'm just going to leave them like that. Can you see that okay?
No, we just see the first slide, the
No.
title slide.
Oh, that's not a good start. How about that? Is it still the first slide?
Oh, no, that's
Yep.
moving
That's
along.
better.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that and not go through the animation. So if you're seeing
Oh, did we lose the chief?
No, he's back, but we lost the slides.
well, we are definitely having some technical difficulties here. I haven't seen this before, but how's that? Are we back?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, let's try this again. My apologies. So MIH is where was I? That our nurse you'll see in the right hand photo. That is Ashley. She's a registered nurse and works Vashon Fire. She's a key component to our team. And then Lily.
Oh, cutting out. Chief, you might want to stop sharing your screen. That might be overloading your connection there because we can't hear you.
Yeah, I think.
You got bumped out.
Yeah. You know, with this wind, I'm not surprised if folks are having bouncy connections tonight. We might be in and out. So if that
Yeah.
happens, try turning off the video.
I just dropped completely. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I sincerely apologize. Let me just not go with the slides, if that's okay, and just explain the program. So let me get, I just need them for my talking points. Yeah, rough night on Wi-Fi here. Okay, I'm gonna make an attempt here to continue and talk a little bit more about MIH, and I'll share the slide deck so you can share it in your minutes. So we strive to create a healthier life at home with folks, and provide healthcare in the home in a non emergency manner. And like I said, we have a referral model now, working with Island Partners. I'll talk about that in a minute. And our team is comprised of a registered nurse, a program manager, a registered nurse, and an EMT. We're in the field. We've been in the field since February 21st. We deliver mobile integrated health 1 day a week, and we've expanded and done a couple of pilots to 2 days a week, where we are actually expanding our evenings into evening hours as well, to just ensure that we serve the public. We serve the island across different days and different hours. And we'll continue to get some different additional experience as we expand into evening hours and into additional days, on what the timing and days are best for the program. So we're delivering healthcare. We're coordinating resources. We're developing care plans, and we're navigating individuals to the right level of care. So a lot of it is assisting people navigating the healthcare system, but delivering healthcare in the field as well. And I'll go through some of the services that our nurse and our EMT are providing. We do this currently in the referral model, in a proactive outreach manner to visit our community. We are offering, and we're looking for, our goal is going to be to expand this to more of a comprehensive model. So it's complete wraparound services from Vashon Fire, to include urgent and 911 care, acute care, and then the potential for MIH follow-up. So those folks that we see on 911 calls are EMTs, firefighter EMTs. We respond to over 1,200 911 EMS calls specifically annually. We transport about 475 people off island annually, just to give you an idea of numbers. But when we go on a call and we see where folks can need additional help after the 911 call, that's where the internal referral happens, and the team goes out in the field and provides MIH services. I want to stress that there's no additional fee for MIH services. There's no bill to anyone for this. We've built this around a model with levy funds, both our fire levy and the King County EMS levy. We get an allocation from that for MIH, but there's no fee. There's no fee charged to any MIH patients. I have a great slide I wish I could share about our external referrals, and I think I saw Hillary on. We're working with Hillary, excuse me, and the Interfaith Council. We also have a software platform that we're working. We've opened up external portals for youth and family services, the Vashon Care Connection group, Care Closet, and Vashon Senior and Vashon Senior Center. And we're getting referrals from those external partners to have our MIH team go out and support their clients, and ultimately just all our island residents. The services we're providing are, and I wish I could share this slide because it's easier for you to see. Spend a lot of time on this PowerPoint, but we established or reestablished primary care. So our registered nurse is working with primary care providers, directly with primary care providers, to support and build that care plan in the home. We're providing fall prevention services. We're providing support around medication management. So we see a lot of folks on island that may have a hard time accessing the pharmacy, getting their prescriptions refilled or renewed, or just not taking the right medicine at the right time. So our nurse can help manage their medication. We're starting a Narcan drop-off and leave-behind program. We actually have training coming up. It's a fairly new program that's supported by King County. So both our advanced life support and our basic life support folks, the aid cards will have Narcan to drop off and leave behind for scenarios that would need that. And also our MIH program will have the Narcan drop-off program involved in their services as well. While we're at folks' homes, our EMTs are doing home safety checks. And we've been able to, there's just some great anecdotal stories about, putting smoke detectors in. We have a great smoke detector program that is also in our community risk reduction program. So we're installing smoke detectors. We're looking for any home hazards while we're there to try to reduce risk while we're there for our MIH patients. We're connecting patients with mental health and substance abuse support. We're making connections to senior services in King County. And we're helping folks that are transitioning from hospital to home. So it's a lot of larger topics and larger areas of scope of practice that we have. All of those have additional drill down areas that our nurse and our EMT and our program director are managing and delivering. To date, we've had 56 referrals. We've again been out 1 day a week. And we've had one day where we've had more than 1 day with 2 days a week, but we've had primarily during the 1 day a week, we've had 56 referrals and we've seen 77 patients. In the slide I have in front of me that I'm talking about, we have the percentages of the age of our patients that we're seeing, and we're seeing currently patients from 18 and above. And as we expand our services and our hours and our scope, we'll be working to serve pediatrics as well. But currently, 72% of our patients we've seen are 65 and older. 12.5% are 30 to 39, 10% are 50 to 64, and 2.5% are 18 to 29. We are also taking referrals. You can go to our website, vifr.org. There's an MIH tab. You can email mih@vifr.org, or you can call our office during office hours, 206-463-2405. And we're taking referrals directly from the community as well. We've had family members or neighbors that believe that their loved ones can be supported with utilizing this MIH program, and have connected our staff with folks that they need, that would need this MIH services, and we're taking those direct external referrals from the public as well. That is MIH, and I made an attempt to go through all those slides. I hope I didn't go over with all my IT issues, and I'll just pause there and answer any questions. I see. I guess I'm not sure who calls on folks for questions, so I'll stand by on that.
Sorry.
Deborah,
So Deborah, do you know how to see who has their hand up?
Yes, sorry. I had to step away for a dog thing. Yes, looks like Art had a question or a comment.
Yes, I'm sorry, Chief, could you repeat that phone number?
I can, and I have just seen in the 50 folks that are online, our program manager is on too, and I am remiss in not seeing that. Lily Caroon, who's doing amazing work to support this program. Our phone number is 206-463-2405, and our email, which goes to Lily, is mih@vifr.org. And I would, if I could, just ask Lily to offer any additional items that I may have missed, if that's okay.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to pop in and show my face to the community council. I also just had one correction. I think we flipped some numbers. We've had 77 referrals and we've seen 56 unique patients. I think we said that we had 56 referrals and we've seen 77, which is a little bit difficult to do. So a lot of those are repeat referrals, which kind of just goes to show how effective our internal referral service has been so far, kind of lowering the amount of non-emergent calls going to 911. So a lot of those are repeat users that are using 911 or were using 911 as more of the urgent care type assistance, when really they could be used for, MIH or follow-up care. And so we've gotten 77. We've seen 56 unique patients, a lot we do see on a regular basis, weekly, and it really is a full wraparound care. Because we are VIFR, we work seamlessly transferring patients between BLS, ALS, MIH, and getting to see patients after they return from the hospital if they've gone off island for a transport, and getting to follow up and make sure that everything's, still being taken care of. Yeah, so I just wanted to say hi and introduce myself. I'm Lily Karim.
And thank you. That's what really excellent staff do. And I had those numbers backwards. I apologize, but I give all the credit to the staff for the success of this program. They've just engaged in this and have been doing an amazing job delivering this care to the island.
Great. Melvin, you had a question or comment?
Yes, thanks. Yes, Chief Vinci, the MIH program, as you're describing it, sounds very pervasive, that they do an awful lot of things. And with only 3 people, I'm wondering how they're going to be able to reach the goals that you're after. And so my question really is, what are your goals for future staffing for MIH, and how do we get there?
That's a great question. We definitely were, as we looked at other MIH programs in the county, we're cautioned to go out slow and, really kind of get our feet on the ground and get our program established and get some experience in history. So we are doing that. I would say we're moving on a slower ramp up as we have some capacity to a second day. And getting additional referrals. In this fiscal year right now, we're funded to deliver 2 days. We're going to look at additional funding. One of the key components to the funding is the King County EMS levy. There's an allocation to all jurisdictions that have MIH programs across King County, and that levy will be up for renewal in 26. This is a pilot program in the existing levy, and it'll be a permanent program and more fully funded in future levies. And it will be, as we build the success, we'll be working with our board and our budget to continue to support MIH to the maximum amount allowable within our existing funds and our existing budget. So it is aggressive, as you've mentioned, sir. But it's as we're seeing, we're going to be, I believe we'll start seeing where folks are not utilizing 911 as much and utilizing MIH. Or only utilizing 911 in those urgent situations. So it'll be a slow ramp up. It'll be programmed into our budget as we move forward into additional fiscal years and add additional days.
I see 2 more questions. Beverly and Dr. Steve Norris. Oh, and Linda, I didn't see yours either. Okay, so Beverly first is in the order. Let's see, Beverly, there you go.
Okay, sorry, just took me a little time to unmute. Just wondering, I know of conditions that happen where someone has been released after psychiatric care and back to the island, and you said you did some follow-up with post-hospitalization things. Is this something that you would be doing? And also, if someone is experiencing a psychotic episode on the island, is this a group that comes out to assist with that or evaluate that?
Yeah, not in a crisis situation. That would be more of a 911 scenario where we would have a 911 response and working in a crisis situation. If there's the potential for a follow-up after the patient is evaluated, And there's, it's more of a stable situation for, folks with needing psychiatric care, then yes, MIH can support someone and build out their care plan and have routine visits to support folks with psychiatric and mental health services, and also substance abuse as well. So the answer is yes, but not in a crisis situation. This would not be a crisis team that goes out for psychiatric crisis
Thank
scenario.
you.
That's 911.
Thanks. Dr. Steve Norse.
Hi, Chief. How are you? I just wanted to say I am really impressed with this program because I just want to make a comment. I think it's really proactive. I see, one of the things that you mentioned was checking prescriptions. And I think with the folks that I know that work at hospitals, that's one of the biggest reasons that you get the 911 calls and you get those calls just by, I just did a series on VOV on dementia and, people taking their medications 2 or 3 times a day, looking at those things. So, and also just a simple blood pressure check. But the thing I like about it is that I would bet that it really reduces the number of calls you get for transport off island if you can get people ahead of time. So congrats for that. I think I'm really impressed with it. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I think the data will show, we'll kind of tell a story down the road as we, have some history and look at our BLS and ALS transports. Are if it's an advanced life support transport, then that's a much more critical situation. We haven't seen the history of MIH programs hasn't seen a reduction in ALS transports, but there has been some kind of balancing of BLS, basic life support. So we'll be looking forward to sharing that data in the future.
Can I also add one thing to Dr. Norse's comment? It kind of also works in the opposite way, where we are being proactive by going out before it becomes a 911 call. But what we've also seen is kind of the opposite, where we go out as an MIH team, kind of just a regular proactive check-in on someone, and it actually turns out that they have more pressing issues and they actually needed to get to a hospital and didn't know. And so we're able to automatically refer that up to BLS and get them transported in the same day. So we've kind of seen it work both ways, and it's been a really great partnership being able to work with BLS and ALS.
And I think that's the other thing is too, if you're looking at homes, one of the biggest reasons that you probably get calls is from people that are falling.
Mhm.
And if you can see things like loose rugs,
Yes.
stairs without handrail, all
Mhm.
kinds of stuff. So like you say, it's kind of you kind of increase and decrease, but overall, I think it's going to provide much better service. So that's why I wanted to just say that I think it's going to work well. And I think it's also great you're kind of ramping up slow. I think sometimes programs like this take off too fast, and then you get too much to do too quick. And so that's also, I think, a positive.
Thank you. All right, one more question. Linda Box had a question. Go ahead. You're still muted, Linda. Can you unmute? That's okay.
I'm also impressed, extremely impressed with this program. I was so excited to hear about it. My question is twofold. You mentioned something about a class on fall prevention. I think that's very exciting, and I really want to be part of that class because I'm coming home from back surgery. I've been rehabilitating, or whatever you want to call it, in Olympia, and I'll be coming home next Tuesday. So I guess what I was wondering is if do you come out and check the home for safety, because I live alone, and if I need to have some handrails put up, would you put them up? Or do I need to go by those suction cup things that fall off the walls?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Lily respond to that as she's managing the details of those requests.
Okay.
So yeah, that's definitely something we would do if you're coming home on a Tuesday. Our field day is Wednesday, but we can also make it a Tuesday if that's necessary.
Not
And what we
urgent.
do is we go to your house and the firefighter EMT is trained to do home safety checks, and they'll do a fall risk assessment to make sure that everything is safe. They'll give pointers and tips. We don't have the bars or the capacity to install them ourselves, but we can connect you to King County Fall Services and they'll be able to send out a crew, and that's who does that. So
Wow. Is there a cost to
yeah,
me?
I don't know exactly. I will double check, but we can definitely put you on the list and we can make sure to come check out your house next Wednesday when you're home.
That'd be great. And put up my
Yeah.
smoke detector for me too, because it's not up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then talking about dementia, someone had mentioned, you know, caretakers are calling on behalf of, you know, the people that they're watching over. If they have dementia, sometimes they're leaving the stove on multiple times a day. So they just want to make sure that we can go and check that they've got working smoke detectors and alarms and batteries. And so that's something that we've been doing. We did a couple last week.
Great. Okay. So how do we connect so that you know where I live and stuff?
Yeah, so you can email mih@vifr.org, or you can give us a call just right at the station and I'll be able to set that up.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you
What
both
was
so
that?
much for joining tonight and the overview. This is a great program and it sounds like lots of value for our community. So thank you for what you're doing.
I
And
forgot to.
thank you for persisting with the magic of the internet tonight. You did a great job even without the slides. Thank you. All right, let's move on. We can go back quickly to the minutes from the last meeting because now we have well over a quorum. So the minutes were posted online. So if are there any changes or comments on the minutes from April? Okay, if not, indicate if you would approve the minutes. Everybody say yes if you would, or raise your hand, or okay. Anybody not agree with that? If not, we're just going to consider those passed. Great. Okay, we have another big topic tonight, and this is a follow-up conversation to a lot of work that's been done around Puget Sound Energy and the Tree Wire program that's been underway. Jenny Bell, I know Jenny's here. I saw her a minute ago. Let me see if I can see.
Yeah, she's waving.
Okay. Oh, there you are, Jenny. Hi. Jenny has been chairing the advisory committee related to this work. So we'll appreciate her chiming in. We introduced several motions last month. And so the way that we do this is the follow-up tonight is for folks to have conversation, discussion about those motions that are now on the table, any Q&A or discussion, and then we'll go ahead and vote on all three of those motions over the course of the time. But we've got a little bit of time here for discussion because I know it's a complicated issue and there's been a lot that's been going on. Jenny, as the chair of the committee, do you want to give the overview of sort of how the background, and then hopefully folks have been tracking and read the motions, but if not, we'll go through those as well, each by each.
I could do that. What I will do is read from the FAQ so that everyone can refer to exactly what I'm saying, and you can go over it at your own pace and your own speed. So the PSC Activity Advisory Committee was initiated as a response to Puget Sound Energy upgrading activities on the island, impacting street frontage trees and vegetation that provide a buffer between private property and our roads. As part of the committee's activities, it has been confirmed that every pole on island is currently subject to 2007 clear zone regulations administered by King County Roads, requiring infrastructure to be moved 10 foot back from the fog line edge of the road. In general, this moves infrastructure off the public right-of-way and onto private property, and PSC's easement acquisition program has ensued, with utility easements involving rights to clear all trees and vegetation. This program has clear implications for street frontages, vegetation, and property rights for the whole island. So I think that's probably a pretty concise summary of the issue.
Well, maybe I think before we go into the individual motions, maybe just pause and see. We had a fair amount of discussion last month, but we sort of ran out of time. So maybe I'll just open it up and see if there's comments in general, or if anyone else has any insight or questions they want to share on the topic before we delve into the individual motions. Hillary, were you raising your hand?
Muted.
I was raising my hand just for process here. So are you going to debate each motion separately, or is this the place? I don't know the process because I haven't been to a meeting.
Sure. I think this is just general Q&A about the overall program, but we will go through each motion one by one and we will vote on each of them individually.
No, I got that part.
Okay.
But when do you talk about each motion individually, or do you talk now?
We'll talk about each one individually.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see, Mike Dawson.
So just to make it clear, I don't think I've run into anybody regarding this work that PSC wants to do who is against them doing everything. In other words, I think almost everybody is bought into the idea that risk reduction for fire, risk reduction for power shutdowns because of hot weather and so forth, it is something that I think we should deal with. But what's become really clear to me in the last few weeks is that there are alternatives to the project as PSC is moving forward. And that it does not seem to me that those alternatives have been well weighed, looked at what the additional costs and benefits are. And I think it's really important that the county and PSC just slow down and engage the community and try to figure out what's best for us all. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Art.
You're on mute.
Muted, Art. Still muted. Can one of the hosts unmute, Art? Still muted.
I have to
There.
unmute and then hit.
There it is.
So, good grief. So one of the things that really concerns me is, well, there are several, but one of them is that from an environmental impact point of view, this is going to require the removal of thousands of trees on the island. We don't know exactly how many trees really, but they're talking about the entire island. Trees will have to be moved back off the road. So you can imagine all the way from the ferry dock into town and then out of town, down south, any tree that, and there's a lot of them. You see a lot of fir trees right along the side of the road, and they're all going to be gone. They can't move those trees back. They're just going to be cut. And so there are significant environmental impacts that are going to be felt just from doing that. Secondly, I think that one thing we need to look at as well is that is where they're cutting these trees down and when. There are prohibitions about cutting down trees that are near anywhere near the nests of certain bird types. And so the land, we're talking about like 1,000 feet away, that kind of thing. So I don't think that Puget Sound Energy is going to be monitoring that. And it's another concern that we have. Secondly, I don't really understand the safety reason for this. Clearly, if you run into a tree that's on the side of the road, then it's not the tree's fault. It's either the driver or something wrong with the vehicle. And so I just don't understand where the county gets off on this. They did a report in 2018, which showed that throughout the year of 2018, that the number of vehicles involved in accidents in which they ended up hitting a tree, that was the last stop, was hitting a tree. And the total number was 29. And of those people, the fatalities were 3, and I think it was 2 injuries, and all the other damage in those reports was property damage. So to me, it doesn't seem like it's that pressing of an issue. Cars are much safer these days than they were back in 2007 when this ordinance was created. And you know, our highways are wide enough, and even if you look at the back streets, if you're looking at, you know, some of the narrow roads that we have, and it doesn't matter if it's a paved road or not. It can be alongside an unpaved road if they have tree wire going back down that road. So a lot of people who have that frontage right up on a paved road, thinking that, you know, that they're protected from, you know, the noise and you know, sort of the urbanization of Vashon, no, they're going to run right into it. So we have to consider that this is going to affect way more people than think they're being affected right now. So I agree that what we need to do is we need to go to King County first. We need to get King County to do this because it's these are their rules, created in, let's see, was it 2007? And I think that we need to get them to pause on this program before they continue to go ahead and you know, denude the island of a lot of its trees. It's not Puget Sound's fault. They're simply following the law that's laid down for them, the ordinances. So let's focus on King County and have some meetings with them. That's what I got.
Thank you. Thank you. Terry Sullivan.
Yes, thank you. My main concern has to do with process and transparency more than anything else. This is a situation where King County and PSE amongst themselves decided how they're going to approach the clear
Zone.
clear side project. And even by their own admission, they said that you know, this was their decision, and the community of Vashon really had nothing to do with it. And I think that when they're planning on doing a project of this size, with major infrastructural changes on our island, that we on the island should be informed and consulted about it. And it is a fact that they've been doing collecting easements for about 5 years now, or well, actually, 5 or 6, and we haven't been informed about any of this. I didn't know anything until a couple of months ago, and I don't think that would have happened if it hadn't been for Jenny Bell bringing it up. Now, I don't know if any of the rest of you knew any. Well, I think Mike Dawson knew something about it. He was approached, but we've known nothing. And I think if the very least, at the very least, they should have put an article in the paper and should have given us a chance to respond to the situation. But they did nothing. They've been collecting easements for 5 years now without a peep in the community for any of us. So that's my main concern.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
Right, I'll go.
Go ahead, Hillary. Yes.
So, the street I live on Maury has been, done. And, they did a great job. They don't take out every tree. They assess it. Arborists came out and looked at what was happening. One person was gonna lose their trees, and they talked to them and said, you know, we want the privacy, and so they did take down the trees. And then they put in mature shrubs, trees that would not ever hit the lines. And we're not losing power because of the new lines that they're putting in, or a tree limb cannot go on because there's no two parallel lines, and there are three, and they're three different elevations. They're taller poles, they're safer poles. We lose power, and you know, we don't have water, I can't use the bathroom. And a lot of people can't cook. And if it's in the wintertime, you're cold. So I think it's a good thing. I don't see there's a real problem. That they work with you, they have arborists, and I think that Puget Sound is doing a great job. And one of the other things that, I was reading, Jenny, what you wrote about low, what do you call it, trenching. And I tried to get on that website. It didn't work. I went to it was the National Electrical Code. They wouldn't let me on because I'm not a member, so I couldn't go deeper in there. I don't know where you did, but that's okay. But those are national electrical codes, are the minimum standards. And every city or county or whatever building area, they make their own codes that have to be equal to or greater than. And the picture that you showed going down 6 inches looked like a conduit with low voltage, or regular to your house. But I certainly don't want, I don't know how many volts is in there, but it's extremely high voltage, those lines. And I don't think that low scraping between the way we have water running around and anything like that, I don't think that would be safe at all. And going down really deep is very expensive. And if the lines went bad, it would take much longer than stringing up lines and getting us back into power than going into a vault, taking the wire out and refeeding it. And the vaults can also fill up with water. So I'm not convinced that is really a better way to go. I'm done.
Thanks, Hillary. Okay, a couple more. David Vogel.
Muted.
Has PSC explored the cost of undergrounding the electrical on Vashon? Is that possible in a rural area like this? Is it done? Because it's done in many areas, but would it be appropriate on Vashon?
Does anyone know, did they speak to this at the forum on Tuesday? I wasn't able to join.
The wildfire forum on Tuesday, they had a board up about undergrounding. I had a discussion with the wildfire expert there, lovely lady. They are not looking at the latest technology from what I've researched, which is what PG&E in California is doing. They have in essence, they say it's the lowest long-term cost to customers to underground, and it's a 99% wildfire risk reduction, which is obvious. Now, the technology that they're actually using is an on-ground. It's neither overhead nor underground. And that's why it's so advanced. A lot of the issues completely go away with regard to tracking faults, etc. And the costs are almost comparable to overhead line. I had a discussion with the inventor, and the guy who he invented is producing it and installing it. And he's actually part of the PG&E team. He's had like over 30 or 40 years experience in utilities. So there's some extraordinary options for us to be exploring. Absolutely. It's been done wide scale in places very close by, including Bainbridge Island. And this is all covered quite well in the FAQ if you wanted to have a look at it. And
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Okay, several more questions. I want to try to get to folks who haven't spoken. Michelle, Harvey, or Scott, which one of you?
Yes.
Yes, the one thing that was not mentioned at all about the moving the poles, or about the distance from the road, is above grade poles. There's a number of Cove Road's a perfect example, but there's a number of roads where basically the poles are anywhere from 2 to 5 feet above grade, and which because of the demographic, because of the way the road was cut. So therefore, to say that those poles have to be moved back because they're too close to the road, of course, is a ridiculous statement, because again, no car could ever hit those poles, because those poles are higher than the car's tops are. So it's a small item, but there are a number of areas where, again, there would be no reason to move it for safety reasons, because cars couldn't hit those poles. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes.
I'm going to go to Selena, and Art. We'll come back to you. Selena hasn't spoken yet.
I was just wondering, am I wrong that much of the lines are buried on the highway south of Burton after you pass the part that goes along the water and you go up? There's some poles and then the lines disappear and the trees come over both sides of the road. I'm just wondering how many lines are already buried on the island.
44% are already buried.
Okay,
and it's a key distinction between distribution and transmission lines. So what Ben is quoting was only given to us, I think, a couple of days ago. I haven't done any analysis of those figures at all, but whether it's distribution or transmission is important. So the transmission are the really high voltage ones, and that's ultra expensive to put underground. And yeah.
Yeah, according to PSC, it's 44% of the distribution is underground.
Okay. Art, you had a follow-up question or comment, and then Joanne, were you raising your hand as well?
Yeah, here's my
sorry. I didn't see. Let's start with you, and then I'll go back to Art. I didn't see your hand. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, when we were talking to PSC the other day, they didn't quote us how many lines or what percentage were underground, but they said that some were, and that's great. And Bainbridge does have 50-some% of their lines underground. And in terms of an earthquake, this could be very meaningful to have lines underground. I didn't even think of that. Someone mentioned that to me. And of course, for fire, the long-term costs, from my understanding of what people are saying and reading, is that the long-term cost is cheaper to do the undergrounding, but the initial cost is more. But one thing that people have been mentioning, the beauty of the trees, and who knows how many trees are going down. That's definitely an issue. And if you look around right in the center of town, I live near the highway by 156, sort of near the Episcopal Church. The lines that have been put up, the number of them, and then the thickness of one of them. And it's amazing how it affects the aesthetics of our environment. And I'm reminded of the rules that they have in small towns in New England that are very beautiful, that people love to go visit. The aesthetics are important, and we love trees here. And we're here for the quiet, the trees, and everything else. You, I hope, are noticing as well that lots of large road signs are going up all over. And that's going to be another issue, and I'm going to start taking pictures. I've already been talking to the road maintenance about that. in terms of the necessity and the excess of it. But there's many issues to talk about, and I hope our island, the people here, have a chance to have their voice to PSE and they're able to pause this. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Art and then Mike.
I'm going to make a suggestion. We only have 15 minutes and 3 motions to go through. I'm wondering if we can begin the process of the motions and as we go and answer questions, because I think some of them may not have a lot of, and I think 15 minutes, we better get down to business.
I think that's true. We actually had to cancel one item, so we have 20 minutes, but I think you're probably right, Jenny.
Okay.
So,
I'm happy to-
unless Art,
I'm
you
happy to
need to-
I'm happy to pass. I just had a rebuttal, but I'll let it go so we can move on.
So I thought what we do, if this makes sense, because of the 3 motions that were introduced last month, Ben, I think you introduced the first 2. And if you'd like to introduce those, and then Jenny, if you would introduce the 3rd motion, but with each we'll pause and offer any chance for a comment or a question on each one of them. So people have a chance to go through those in full. Does that make sense?
yes,
Sure.
and before we begin, could you also have me as a co-host so I can do screen sharing?
Diane, can you do that? I'm not able to do. Okay. Great. All right.
Okay, so maybe I'll just jump in with the motion number 1 then. So this motion came to us from the PSC Advisory Committee. The board chatted about it and approved it, and so that's why I introduced it last week. It is about, oh, I'm gonna have to back out of there for a second because I gotta read something. It's about the language of the easements. So generally, the community should know that when, if you're one of the property owners who is going to be affected by a PSE project, they're going to have a discussion with you likely about an easement and propose easement terms. Now, just to be very clear, you can negotiate those terms, and I think one of the good points of the PSC committee brought up is that there are certain rights that are preserved for landowners under the statute, and there are ways in which this sort of proposed easement language differs from that statutory language. So that's what this motion number 1 is about, encouraging PSC to change that easement language so that it more directly mirrors the statutory language. So it reads, the Vashon-Maury Community Council calls upon PSC to restore property rights enshrined in statute and to new easement agreements entered into with islanders. Including updating the language of PSC's standard overhead easement clause number 4 to mirror the language of RCW 6412.035 sub 1C. In cases involving potential threats to PSE's systems by vegetation, RCW 6412.035.1C requires that PSE attempts written notice by mail, indicating the intent to act or remove vegetation, and secures agreement from the affected property owner of record for the cutting, removing, or disposition of the vegetation. Right now, PSE's standard overhead easement clause number 4 eliminates the requirement that PSC obtain or even attempt to obtain a property owner's agreement. Out of respect for islanders' property rights, that should change. And that's the end of the motion. Again, the point here is under the statute, the laws already do allow PSE to maintain, to cut, to trim back lines that are in an easement zone, for example, without much notice of any notice to you. And under certain circumstances to cut trees and vegetation outside the easement if it poses a threat of some kind. That's what this language is about. And so that's what we're saying on those instances where they're cutting trees outside of the easement zone because it poses a threat, they should be coming to talk to you and get your agreement to do that. That's the language of the statute. And so we're saying that's what also the easement should say. Anyway, that's motion number 1. I wasn't sure if there are any questions or any further discussion about that.
Okay. Any comments or questions on that first motion? Thank you, Ben.
I'd like to add that very specifically, the language was changed to in PSE's sole judgment, rather than by agreement in the generic easements. So it's a really important shift. And yes, that's probably all I've got to say.
I'd like to mention, so Jenny, I don't know if you realized it, but your screen sharing was going blank and coming back in several times. So I took control, I stopped your screen sharing, and I'm sharing my screen and these motions.
Great.
So that people can keep watching them.
Jenny,
Okay.
can you highlight again where the change was? I'm not tracking that on that motion.
The motion doesn't have this, has the statutory language there, but Jenny was saying the proposed easement language says that would allow PSC to cut vegetation outside of the easement zone in PSC's sole judgment if they believe it's a threat, and without much of any notice to the homeowner. So we're
That's
saying
what it
no,
says
no,
now in the easement
in the easement letter, and we're saying no, it should track with the statute. It should track with the statute where they have to come get your agreement first.
Okay. All right.
So quick remark.
Yes, Joanne.
When there was that question, Jenny had a comment, and instead of Ben clarifying, I think Jenny should have been the one to speak at that point, not Ben. So that's my comment. That was for Jenny to address.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Any other comments?
Art?
Oh, thank you.
Yes. May I? I just want to point out, it doesn't say anything in here about eminent domain, but that's the language that PSE uses in their on their papers to property owners. Basically, they're saying that by eminent domain, they can take that land regardless. The law says you have to pay that property owner the fair value of that land. And so far, I don't know any arbiter in that conversation. It's basically what PSE offers. And so I think that is something that also needs to be included. I mean, I go with motion number 1 the way it is, but I would also venture that we should put in something more appropriate, more something that recognizes eminent domain and what it means.
Thanks, Art. I hear you. I think right now the focus of motion number 1 is really about easement language, and the eminent domain proceedings are separate from the sort of easement agreements. And so it might be the subject of a future discussion and a future motion, but I think it's probably it's sort of outside the topic area of motion number 1 as it's intended. So I appreciate the feedback, and I think the committee will continue to discuss the issues. But I think sort of in proposing motion number 1, I think that's probably too far outside of the language as it's currently written.
I concur.
Wasn't sure if there were any other questions or if we could call for a vote on it.
I think that's fine if folks are ready. Diane, do you have the poll ready to go?
I do.
Oh, Armin, I'm sorry. Armin has a question or comment?
Armin, you're on mute.
Muted. Still muted. Can one of the hosts unmute?
No, we can't.
Oh.
Okay, let's, Rex also had a further comment. If you're in, go ahead, Rex.
Hey, just for the sake of absolute clarity.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This is Armin.
Yeah, Armin, one sec. We're gonna circle. I'll defer to Deborah as
Yeah, let's let Rex finish and then we'll come back to Armin now that he's unmuted. Go ahead, Rex.
Okay, just when it's relevant, just so that we're absolutely clear, can you succinctly say a yes for motion 1 means this, a no means this? I mean, I assume yes means that we would like the language, we'd like PSE to change. Sorry, I should have video, should change their language, and a no means they don't need to change the language.
Rex, I'd like to speak to that because I put the poll together. So Rex, the way the poll is set up for our Zoom call is motion 1, PSC to restore property rights. Number 1, do you approve this motion for PSC to restore property rights in their easements? And that's what this motion is all about. Does that help, Rex?
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Good
You're welcome.
clarification. Armin, you had a question or comment?
Comment or question. Since the topic of King County has come up, and as I understand it, King County has issued a permit for this, and these easements have been solicited and granted since September. That's like 8 months ago or something. And since Bong Sto Domingo, our King County liaison person, is on this call, I wonder if Bong could explain or make some comment about King County having granted a permit, recognizing or being aware that the easements were pursued in the manner they were.
We can
Well,
ask.
yeah.
I don't know if this has anything to do with his department. We can ask if he has awareness of it.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
to Armin's point, you know, there are other questions that I think we'd like King County to answer, but I think that might be also outside of the parameters of the current motion on the table.
I'm ready to run the poll, Deborah, whenever you say.
Okay. I think let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
All right, the poll is up. So everybody choose either yes, you approve the motion, no, you don't approve the change in language, or you are abstaining. We'll give it a minute or two for folks to register. Interesting.
My vote isn't registering for some reason when I go to submit. I don't know.
I think we can't see it, but Diane can. Is that correct, Diane? Are you seeing votes trickle in?
Yes, I'm seeing votes trickle in as people do it.
Okay, because I couldn't see mine either.
Okay, all right. I think now it went.
Okay.
We have 80% participation.
Okay, and Michelle notes that both Scott and Michelle are on the same Zoom, so they both would like to vote yes.
They can't. We're just doing the Zoom poll, and that's the way it'll be. If this
Won't be
vote
that
was
quick,
really
no.
close, we'd pay attention to that kind of thing, but we
Okay.
don't have to.
If it's close enough, we can add one more vote because they are 2 people.
Yeah.
Okay, are we there, Diane?
Yeah, I'm going to end the poll now.
Okay. Well, there we go. That was quite clear. All right,
Yes.
86% approve the motion. 3 do not, and 11% abstained. So
Yes.
that clearly passes. Thank you all. Appreciate
Okay,
that.
I'll stop that sharing there.
Yeah.
And then I guess we'll just move on to motion 2. So again, motion 2 is really about encouraging King County to come talk. And this kind of touches on what Armin was saying just now, and what a couple of other folks have said in committee, that they would like to be able to talk to King County about a lot of these issues and to learn more about this clear zone protocols. And so the motion itself reads, the Vashon-Maury Community Council calls on King County Department of Local Services to present a community-wide public briefing summarizing the King County Roads Clear Zone program. So again, that's the end of that motion. the intent here is really an invitation to them to come answer the questions that a lot of community members have. I wasn't sure if there's any other questions about that motion.
So this really speaks to, we want more transparency and a public discussion, more information. Anybody have questions or comments about that before we move to the poll on motion 2? No?
And again, thanks to the PSC Advisory Committee who sent that language over. The board read it, reviewed it, and that's why we're proposing it.
All right.
Shall I launch?
I think so.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, please go ahead and vote on motion 2.
I think everybody who's want to vote, no more trickling in. I'm going to end the poll
Okay.
and share the results.
Well, that was overwhelming. 97% yes, nobody said no, 3% abstained.
Okay.
Great, thanks. I think the last one was Jenny's motion.
Okay, Jenny, could you go ahead
Thank
and introduce this? Thanks.
Thanks very much. So this third motion, this is, as we've already described, such a very important issue for the whole island. The impacts are extensive, and this is something that we didn't even realize as a community, as has already been pointed out, because there has been no consultation, no environmental studies, no social impact studies, no SEPA evaluations. This is about, to me, motion 3 is about many heads make light work, which I think is a pretty good pun too. We have unique, it's good to have a laugh. It makes the blood flow. We have unique needs as an island. So if we were to just leave things as they were, in particular, it leaves the little old lady, the disabled, the ill, the disadvantaged to fend for themselves one by one. This is so important because it's affecting all of the island. It's an all of island issue, and we should be given full opportunity to weigh in. Every pole, every street, property rights, utility easements are a right to clear all the trees and vegetation. Specifically to speak to an earlier comment that PSC has been very good about how they did it in a particular street, but the reality is they have a legal right to clear all trees and vegetation. This is about traffic safety. This is about wildfire prevention. This is about climate change mitigation. This is about blackouts, PS. This is about protection of the vulnerable, giving assistance with complex legal matters. This is about helping each other, leaning into each other's strengths. This is about being responsible for what happens in our community and to our neighbours and to each other, and assisting those who need it. This to me is step 1. It's very basic. It's saying, hey, talk with us. We're holding out our hand in partnership. Any questions, comments?
Jenny, you should speak to the particulars of the motion. How with the motion has to do with the process we're suggesting, and that's what we're really voting on.
Yes, well, I think, Terry, you did a beautiful summary of it straight up in the beginning. And that is that this is about transparency. This is about us suddenly finding out that this was even occurring, and how vital it is that we actually go through a public consultation process, which is thorough. Terry, did you have any more comments on that?
Well, no, I'm just reading the latest version of this motion. And I know the original motion was requesting that King County put a moratorium on the requirement of moving the poles for a significant enough for enough time for for PSC and the community to come together to explore the alternatives and give us on the island a voice and where this thing was going to go. And I don't see that the moratorium made it into the motion, so that may be a moot point.
Let me just double check the wording I have, because yeah, I thought we had pause in the wording.
Oh, it says not require PSA to bring all non-compliant old poles in compliance.
Yes,
I
guess
it's not quite the reading I had for it. I had thought that the motion was putting a temporary moratorium on the Clear Zone program until such a time as PSE and the community had arrived in an agreement as to how to solve the pole problem, the energy problem on Vashon.
Yeah, I'm going to have to share screen to find my version.
Is it possible we have, Diane, that we have a version disconnect with you were sharing one, but maybe there is the.
No, I don't know. I think that what Terry was talking about was something that never made it to the final approval.
Well, this was the motion that Jenny was putting forward, so I think it was her motion. Wasn't that the one we saw last time?
Yeah,
yes, but
Yeah, that's what she approved last time.
This is what was approved at our last meeting.
Oh, okay. Joanne, yeah?
How did that happen? Because I also remember the version that's being spoken of that Terry brought up. So how did that happen that it was changed? And does Jenny agree with that?
I think it covers what we need. Can you bring it up again, please? Diane, I haven't got the screen sharing rights anymore.
Yes, can you see it?
Yes. So the key thing that we're trying to do, and I guess here's the thing, it's our intent in the meeting that's the most important thing, in addition to the words. So if we think the words cover it and that we've spoken to it in the meeting, that's on the record as well of exactly what it is we're actually looking to do. So we do want the Clear Zone program to pause, which is the Clear Zone program part that's affecting us so dearly, is that PSC is requiring through the franchise agreement with PSC to bring all non-compliant old poles into compliance. So we know, or we believe that there's many options to explore, including curbs, for example, could be a cheap way to put a curb. If a pole can be 2 foot from the face of a curb, according to what Cedro Woolley told me, and they're also following the same regulations. There's all sorts of variances. You can do different designations, so that those all would be non-movement of poles. Then we have other options to consider, such as undergrounding, and I have a whole series of slides on that if anyone's got any questions on that. So I think, Terry, we should just make sure you feel good about the wording too. I think it covers us because our intent is to ask them to pause, do a thorough public consultation process so that it's very clear what we want as an island. So for all those things that you pointed out, that nothing in the newspaper Z- Zero public consultation on a massive issue. So Terry,
Just, yeah,
unmute.
I want to make sure, because I'm concerned if folks are thinking that the motion was changed. I looked at the minutes from last month. This is the exact language that was presented last month in the meeting that was discussed in April. So, if folks want to change, that's a different thing if there's changes to it, but I want to make sure. So this was what was presented last month. So, but I want to make sure people have a chance to talk about the language that's here, but it hasn't changed since last month.
You're muted, Terry. Muted.
The only thing that I thought was in this motion last time was that Jenny just mentioned the word pause. And I if we're going to tell PSE that we want them to basically stop the clear zone program on Vashon, is considerably more drastic than telling them to pause it until we've decided how we're going to deal with the situation we have here. And I'll accept it as is. It's better than nothing, and I'll go with that. I'm not going to disrupt this motion for minor change time considering.
And Celine Yarkin just made a good point that the word until is the key issue that gives you that timing thing until this issue has been through.
Okay.
So I think we are good there.
That until is important. Yeah.
Yes, Mike, I'm sorry. Are you complete, Terry?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Thanks, Mike.
So I think one of the things that needs to be made clear here is part of the problem here, and someone brought this up earlier about that permits have already been issued, blah blah blah, and part of the problem here is that we're being nickeled and dimed to death. This is what the State Environmental Policy Act is meant to avoid. So I think that what we're asking for is an island-wide look at the whole system upgrade, what the alternatives are, and have a discussion about what's best for the island. And what PSE is doing is going out and getting permits for replacing 2 miles of line here, 1.5 miles of line there. Last night, I found out that they have started this process in yet another place on the island and sent people, dear resident letters saying that they intend to upgrade the lines. And what's needed is an island-wide assessment of what the impacts are, what the alternatives are, and for us all to agree on a vision of where provision of electricity should go that's in the best interest of everyone. So my 2 cents.
Well said. Am I calling the questions, or is it?
I have my hand up. I'd like to have the floor.
Yes, Melvin, I see your hand. I think Ben was next. Is that right? I don't know.
Deborah, are you going to do this or not?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I think Ben was up first, but either one.
Melvin, go ahead. I'll defer to you for a sec.
Okay, this is a motion that's before the body, and amendments are allowed. So I move to amend the motion to strike the words "not require PSE 2" and insert the words "pause the requirements until PSE," and then continue bring all non-compliant old poles into the compliance.
I second that.
Wait. Oh, shit.
Is that, Jenny, do you consider that a friendly amendment?
I don't know if it changes it terribly. Someone else could speak to that, but it looks to me like what you're asking for is still there.
It's different.
Okay, it makes it stronger, you think?
Well, yeah, it not require means that you can require, but pause says no, you can't require.
Yes.
Okay, so Melvin, could you tell me again so I can edit this?
Okay, this is an amendment. Is this an amendment that the amendment would need to be voted on, correct?
That's right. I just want to put it in though, so we know what we're voting
Okay.
on. You need to tell me what
So
change
you
you
would
want.
remove the words not require PSE 2 and replace that with pause the requirement that PSE space.
Period.
That's
The
it.
end. Yeah.
Okay, so there's
That
a
it?
friendly amendment, and I guess the
amendment?
rules would be, Jenny, if you accept that friendly amendment, we can have more
I
discussion.
think so. Ask that King County pause the requirement that PSC bring all non-compliant old poles into compliance with the King County Clear Zone program, which PSC is choosing to do through easement acquisition until this issue has been through. Yeah, I think that's stronger. Yeah, thank you, Melvin. I think that's a good one.
Okay.
Can I
So
make an
that's
amendment?
an amended motion. Needs to be seconded.
I'll second it.
Can I make a,
I did second it already.
okay.
Yeah. And Art, you wanted to suggest something too?
I wanted to make an amendment to the amendment. It's just a single word, but
Go ahead.
the MC requests that King County pause, not asks, requests.
I'll second that.
Nice. This is lovely. Thank you. Many heads?
Yeah.
Let me go back to Ben. I think he had his hand up for a while.
Well, actually, yeah, my only question or concern is with the phrase a thorough public consultation process. I had other concerns that I talked to people about, and I think those concerns were assuaged. But I have some lingering concern about that language and whether either Jenny would be open to an amendment that makes it more concrete. I don't know what that phrase means. It's certainly not a legal phrase, and I don't know what is included in it. See Mike giving a thumbs up. If we're saying they should pause it until, then we should give them some idea of like what we'll expect of them. And right now it's so vague that it's really kind of it's hard. It doesn't mean, it means very little because it's so vague. What does a thorough public consultation process mean? How many meetings? How long is this going to last? What votes need to be decided? Who gets to vote? That kind of thing. It would be better in my mind, and again, this is sort of proposing that maybe there'd be a friendly amendment. If we proposed a time frame, even just say for 3 months or whatever it is. Because again, motion number 2 is we're bringing King County in to talk to us. So if we could give a more concrete sort of condition subsequent there, what is it that will finally lift the pause? I think that that's my concern, and I'm hoping there may be a friendly amendment to that language. Otherwise, unfortunately, I think I'd have to vote no on it.
Just to speak to that and looking forward to other people's comments as well. To me, this is about initiating that connection with King County. How exactly this is going to look like may be the subject of future motions, so that we're all in agreement as to exactly what the thorough consultation process looks like. So this really to me is an initiator, something that triggers an initiation of action. So coming from us, we're not supposed to have all the answers at this point. I definitely wouldn't put a time limit on it. Okay. Anyone else got anything to add?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to add a friendly amendment to this particular thing. I would put where it says until this issue has been through a thorough public consultation process, I would say until this issue has been resolved through a thorough public consultation process.
Yes, I like that.
And if you wanted to, you could, say within a reasonable amount of time or something, if that's something that, or some particular, maximum time limit, if people are worried about how long this is going to go on.
Mm.
I don't know. But at least, if we have to do it until we reach resolution, I think that is the end point.
I like that too. Ben, have you still got your hand up for comment?
Oh, well, no, I'll put it down. I don't know what resolution means though. Like what does that word mean in this context? But I'll put my hand down.
Okay, so I'm just going to note we're running quite a bit over now, but I know we really want to try to get this right. So let's try to get a few more comments in. Mike and Rex both have comments. Yes, Mike.
So I agree with Ben. I think that there needs to be more specificity, or the result could be that that the county comes to the island and has 1 2-hour meeting one evening, and they say that that's a thorough public consultation process. And the more specific you can be, the better off you are. The other thing that I know from what PSC has told me about the project here on 87th Avenue is that none of this is scheduled to happen until the summer of 2025.
Mm.
So asking for a considerable amount of time, if you Ben said something about saying a thorough public consultation process, you could say of not less than 6 months, and still not disrupt any progress with the lines, but that would give the county a better idea of the depth of a process that we want to see happen.
Mm.
So I'll just say to move along, Selena put in language to create a comprehensive island-wide plan as a but what I'm hearing is folks talking about whether we want more specificity in what we're asked, what constitutes the process, so they don't so it's not just sort of a lip service.
Well,
that's
I like
sort of what
that.
I was. Sorry.
I'm thinking we got a couple of issues going at once. So maybe add in the amendment that Celine suggested and have a show of hands as to whether people think that's a good amendment.
Jenny, if I can just add a thought, I've heard several people comment about the importance of an environmental impact survey, and so that may be something specific to include. That what are the specific things that we would like to see as part of it? What is just but also, are we asking for a specific assessment or evaluation to occur? And that might be something more concrete we could include. I'm just.
Yes, I think because we're all here making this together, if it's longer with this kind of specificity, I think that's a great idea. So, Diane, have you got that Celine wording?
No, I don't.
Okay, can someone pop it up on screen?
That wording's in the chat, Diane.
So you've got to copy and paste from the chat.
So I've had my hand up for a while and I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead, Art. Thank you.
So a public consultation process is clearly defined by several organizations. And it requires basically, it's a key regulatory tool and it requires notification, consultation, participation, and then some sort of a resolution at the end, an agreement at the end. And so I think we don't try to deal with that today, but that I think that using the language, a public consultation with to achieve agreement by islanders, maybe by a vote or something like that in the end. But that I think that it's on the right track.
Yes.
But it is clearly defined in terms of how we go about it. We just don't have to spell all that out.
Yes, so perhaps adding in there, the wording's gone again, so I can't speak to it, but perhaps adding in there, coming to clear agreement with islanders, and then how we do that could be discussed, but meeting that intent. You're mute again, Art.
Yeah, with the community of islanders, as you had, allowing for the islanders the opportunity to express, right.
Okay, I see Kevin and Yvonne had their hands raised, and maybe if there's.
Yeah, Deborah, my only concern was to make sure that Celine's language was seen. It looks like it is. And I did respond to Armin's concerns about should all of these be voted on. Democratic rules of order say no. Jenny's the mover. She can accept as many friendly amendments as she wants.
Thank you.
So my computer went off for a little bit and I'm back. So I need to know if I need to make any more changes to this amended motion 3 that I missed while I was gone.
Yvonne, did you also have something to say on that, love? You're muted, Yvonne. Muted. Muted, love. You got on, it's, I think it's on the bottom left. There you are.
Okay, I'm still muted.
You're good.
Oh, I am. Okay. Sorry. No, I put something in chat. My only thought, and I know there's just been a lot of really great conversation on this and a lot of great language offered up and changed. But it seems a lot to ask for us to really define that public consultation in this moment, in this motion. But is there a way to add language, or do we want to add language that says that that public consultation process will be defined in collaboration with the VMCC, so that there's a place, so in other words, we can say that there will be a process of defining this and it's going to be done in collaboration. But just to that question of and concern about leaving that so vague.
Yeah, because it could be cut short as well. And I think we could add in arts.
And we want to do due diligence, right? I mean, on all the levels of concern, and you don't know what's going to come up as we start digging into this.
So keeping that in there, Diane, and perhaps adding comma, including, what was your words, Yvonne? VMCC.
And where does it go,
collaboration.
Yvonne?
I think after plan, creation of a comprehensive plan, comma, including VMCC collaboration. Is that roughly right?
Well, let's see.
In collaboration with VFCC.
Yes, that's better. Nice, Art. In collaboration with VMCC. Just an in front of that collaboration. But you're doing a great job, Diane. I'm thinking it in my head and it's appearing. It's amazing. And then, so after the comma, maybe put in there also, Art, your suggestion? Because I think that's a good one too, like mechanisms that show what islanders want. And
yeah, I think it's addressed Vashon's just needs as opposed to unique needs.
We could put just and unique because I think they're two different things.
Well, so one thing, yeah, we're asking for some justice in this process.
Yes.
And that's really what we want to tell them, that this will be a process of coming to some sort of an agreement.
Yes. How's everyone feeling about that? Terry, you've got your hand up. And Yvonne, are you good?
Yeah.
I'm
Terry?
ready to vote.
Unmute Terry.
Yeah,
By the way,
I thought that unique was good because it refers to the fact that we are an island. That's the way that we're unique.
well, I would change that to unique island needs then.
Yeah, and you could include just as well if you want, but I think just is something that's implied in the process that we're trying to do here. But
Yeah, I think there's truth in that.
By the way, I put
do
a
I
link.
include it or not, Jenny?
Yeah, what do I do? Quick hands up. If everyone puts their hands down for a second, quick hands up. Yes to just.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it doesn't hurt to put in extra. Okay, so we'll keep it as just. Yvonne, have you still got comments, love? You finished?
Nope.
Put your hand
Nope.
down if you can. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
And
I
Mike,
will. I can do it.
sorry, Mike's got comments. Are Terry finished and Art finished?
yes.
Yeah,
So-
I'm done.
Mike, go ahead. Sorry, love.
So a comprehensive plan is something very specific in this county, as we all know, because they're working on one right now, right? And if you just say that, then that really doesn't convey it. I would assume it's creation of a comprehensive plan regarding upgrades in the electrical system. Is that specifically what we're asking them to do?
Or regarding, well, yes. I guess.
Is there anything missing if you say that, or?
Let me think. I was thinking the manner of doing, is it always upgrades? Yes. But it's further than that too, because it's also about the traffic safety.
Right, so the electrical system and highway safety are regarding highway safety and upgrades in the electrical system.
Yeah, I'd say traffic safety and upgrades.
Yeah.
Traffic safety and upgrades in the electrical system. I'm okay with the length of this because I think we are adding some good stuff that can hopefully bring more people into agreement.
We are going to need to bring
Wait,
it.
are we?
We had a couple of other things tonight, so I want to try to get us, if we're close. Is there anybody who hasn't spoken that wanted to comment or join in?
I wanted to bring the attention to the comments where Ben talked about bringing King County into it as well as PSC to be part of the talks. I thought that was a good point.
Absolutely. Until PSC, is that up there, you mean, Celine, with the?
So he said in the comments, if we are asking King County to pause their roadside maintenance standards, shouldn't we also include them in the group of people coming up with a comprehensive plan?
Yeah, so I think that'll be until King County, PSC, and oh, what happened? How did we get Island Committee?
I have a comment.
That was
I would put King
Selena's.
County last.
No,
There's no committee.
yeah, I don't know where that came from, but that's to go.
I copied and pasted from Selena, so let's just take that off. I'm not.
Yeah, because I think we've got it covered in collaboration with VMCC. And we could say, or other stakeholders, relevant stakeholders.
I have a
Yeah.
comment.
Yes.
I need Jenny to be really clear on the language here before we have any more comments. Jenny, is this
Okay, love.
what
With
you
the King
think you
County
would approve?
Cleveland, have resolved this issue with the creation of until King County, PSE, and other relevant stakeholders. I suppose, yeah, no, forget relevant. Other stakeholders have resolved this issue with the creation of a comprehensive plan regarding traffic safety and upgrades in the electrical system in collaboration with the MCC, allowing islanders the opportunity to express their preferred. Yes, and Kevin, if you can weigh in here too, I think you're always, and Terry, you're both exceptional with verbiage. Is that?
I'd like to be able to make a comment. No.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a bad idea to include King County in this because King County is a huge organization and so is PSE. And who are we along with them? So I just think it's politically unwise to say, oh no, let's bring in another huge organization and try to have a voice amongst those two huge organizations. I think it's a very bad idea. That's all I have to say on that.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what's
I
interesting?
disagree with you, Joanne.
Mm.
King County is the one that holds all the cards in this. PSC is doing the county's bidding, and so it's the county that we have to who we have to get on our side. PSC will do whatever the county requests them to do.
Mm.
And I have one little language change I'd like to make on the third line there. It says in parentheses, which PSC is choosing to do through easement. I would say which PSC is pursuing through easement.
Yep, I like that. Yep. Okay, the VMCC requests that King County pause the requirement that to bring everything into compliance with the which is until King County, PSC, and other stakeholders have resolved this. Okay, the only thing I don't like about that is the impetus is King County, PSC, which is kind of what Joanne's speaking to. And it's almost saying you lead the process, and we've got problems with that already. So I am kind of in agreement with that. This is where it gets very complicated because of the specificity.
I think you just want to say King County and the Vashon community have resolved this issue.
No, PSC's got to be in there.
I think so too.
Sure, but really, their expertise is technical.
I haven't commented all.
They're not involved in policy making.
Oh, sorry, Virginia, you had your hand up for a while. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think what I recommend is that we take the phrase in collaboration with VMCC and move it up so it's with the people collaborating. So it's King County, PSE. I don't think we need to say, Vashon community, other stakeholders in collaboration. So we need to be part of what's in collaboration with that early group. The way we are at the bottom now, I think, is part of what's causing the problems to make us think that it's too much PSE in King County.
Yes.
So I think if we move that up, that will help resolve to make it clear that VMCC, because I don't know what that committee was that was there, but yeah, the VMCC must be involved early on. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Jenny, do you think that
Jenny,
looks
take
good?
a look at this now, please.
Until King County, PSC, and the Vashon community in collaboration with, and the Vashon community in collaboration with VMCC.
Could I just make a major change? Not a major change, but just move some words around here. I'm afraid the way it's set up now, that King County and PSC have the highest priority in.
Yes, I don't like that either.
So I think if you said until King County, PSC, in collaboration with VMICC, have resolved this problem with the Vashon community.
I like that better too. Or put, yeah.
They, them, and have resolved it with us.
And we can even put VMC right up front until VMCC, King County, PSC. How do people feel about that?
Yes.
So suggestions on where to put that? Was that you, Mike, who said that?
Yeah, until she's got it. Until
Yes.
VMC, King County, and PSE
Yes. I feel much better about that because
resolve this issue with the
think,
Vashon community.
yeah, I know this is taking a while, but that was what the request was for those who wouldn't agree with it in the beginning. So I think it's worthy. And I think we've got, hopefully everybody else has resolved who's got their hands down. We've still got Armin's hand up and Art. Armin? Okay, it's down. Art?
Yeah, it's the phrase VMCC, King County, and PSC have resolved this issue, and
Created a comprehensive plan.
well, we haven't really described what the issue is here. Let's see. We pause requirement. We just asked them to stop the compliance of moving old poles, and I think maybe we should say at PSC and PSC have resolved. All of us together have resolved the issues created by this clear zone program.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. There's truth in that. Does anyone else got some words there?
I would think that it's not so much the clear zone program as the easements. I mean, it's the two.
Yes, I think that's a little limiting.
PSC has decided to do this by pursuing acquisition.
Until King County and PSC have resolved, well, because really it's about PSC activity and how it's being done. That's the broad wording. So
right, and you're specifying that as to that's what the comprehensive plan is going to address. Traffic safety upgrades in the electrical system, right?
Any more comments? Art, is your hand up still?
Yeah, because I always have something to say.
I was thinking.
I think that I agree. I mean, I basically think it's fine. I just think that the issue here is not just about easements. It's also just about removing so many trees.
Yeah.
And for me, a lot of it is about the clear zone and why we have a clear zone and what some of the other alternatives are.
Yes. I think.
Did we have the?
Yes. So is it
comprehensive
this?
plan include something about trees?
We can. I don't know. We could list everything, or we could just.
There's too much to list. I think your first statement about this particular motion, Jenny, that it has to do with supporting islanders. If there is an easement program that people get legal support when they negotiate, if that's the way it goes, because we don't really know what way it's going to go.
Right.
Trees are major in this. Trees
I
are
agree.
major in this, and the word tree should be in there.
Mm.
It might
Well,
be to resolve these several issues, something like that.
yeah, resolved PSC activity issues. How about that? PSC activity issues, because then it's referring to all the things that we've been doing as a committee.
Yeah.
PSC activity issues. Get rid of these.
Get these out.
I did.
Okay. All right, Jenny, it is
Time to go.
Yes.
Point where we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to read out the amendment. The VMCC requests that King County pause the requirement that PSC bring all non-compliant old poles into compliance with the King County Clear Zone program, which PSC is pursuing through easement acquisition, until VMCC, King County, and PSC have resolved PSC activity issues with the Vashon community, with the creation of a comprehensive plan regarding traffic safety and upgrades in the electrical system, which is kind of a repeat of PSC activity issues, allowing Vashon-Maury Islanders the opportunity to express their preferred options to address Vashon's just and unique needs as an island. I think that's pretty close. Is anyone else unhappy?
Yep. Here's my final word on this. Those last three lines aren't really what we're talking about. Erase everything from with the creation of a comprehensive plan and simply put in activity issues with Vashon community through a legal consultation process or a public consultation. A public consultation process.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think it's okay what we've got. Unless I hear another
I
voice.
really want to call the question and move on, guys. I really
Please.
do.
Yes.
I agree. We
We
should call the
can
question.
always do another motion.
True.
You can't, we cannot leave out public consultation process.
Let's call the question.
I say that's an inference.
Please.
Right.
Call the
So
question. Jenny, it's up
what's
to you.
called
Call
the
the question.
Yeah, what's it mean?
It means
It
you
means
call
we're
for a
going
vote.
to vote.
Oh, okay.
Call for the
So,
vote, Jenny.
I call to vote on
Yes.
motion as it stands. Seconded.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I will second the motion as written.
Great.
All right.
And
Let's go forward with the poll.
do we do the all in favor?
No, we've got a poll set up.
Okay.
We've got the vote. You don't need that unless there's two objections. We're going to do it, and I'm not hearing any. Here we go. We're doing the poll. We can always do this another time.
All right. Everyone vote, please, for the most recent version of motion 3.
Diane is not letting me vote. Can you input me as a no? Thanks.
I can't do that, of course. But the minutes will have to reflect that.
Yeah, just point of order. I think if you're a co-host, you don't get allowed to vote on the poll.
I can take you off as a co-host.
That'd be great.
Can you take me off as well, Diane?
Okay, hang on a sec. I gotta, too many things going on here. Oh, here we go. I gotta find out how to get to you.
That's a strange noise in the background.
Oh,
you
I'm
might just
sorry.
want to mute.
No comment.
That was, I didn't think you could hear. That was my dog drinking water. I was
Thanks for the comic relief, Deborah Stoll.
Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was gonna say it was a
Ben,
dot.
I can't find you.
That's all right.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's look at the results, Diane, because it might not be relevant depending on how close
it's
we are.
not gonna change the result, but mine's a
Okay.
no.
So you want me,
Yeah, okay.
so is this something else we have to click? I approve motion 3.
No.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, if you're gonna vote, yes. I close the
Thank
poll,
you.
folks.
Okay.
Thanks for everybody's patience.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Okay, so we don't need to worry about the ones and twos. 92% voted yes. So that is great. And I know we took a lot of extra time on that, but really appreciate all the background work that people have been doing behind the scenes and the really good discussion tonight. Thank you. And this is great work on behalf of the community. Now I want to just pause. It's already after 9. We had several more things we were going to cover. I don't think we can do justice to the Heritage Trails piece. We may have to move that to next month. Is that okay if we do? Steve, is Steve still here?
No, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem because we need to at least, we don't have to have a big discussion on it. We do need to have the motion made though. And then people can have, because otherwise it won't be voted on until August, and that's pretty late.
And I can be really
That's too
short.
late.
I can
Okay.
be very fast.
All right, Steve. Yes, please go ahead.
If you can make me a co-host, then I'll just share my screen.
All right.
Thank you.
And then while we're doing that, I just want to, we have a new board member that we're going to propose and vote on quickly as well, Elena, and that's as much as we'll probably be able to get to tonight. We're already over. Okay. So you just skip to the motion, Steve, I think is all we have time for tonight.
Okay.
If you can.
Just so everyone is aware, this is what we're talking about. These Docton signs, they're real unobtrusive. They're close to the ground. They provide wonderful information on the rich history of individual. We've got some in Docton and some in Tahlequah Ferry. And we've generated some in Ellisport that look like this. It's amazing the complex history we've got. The county has funded us over $6,000 in Ellisport to build these signs and erect them, but unfortunately the sign code for King County makes it illegal to place these signs on private property. And so we're asking that the county change their code to allow exemptions for historical trails. So here is the motion that we plan to propose next month. You want me to read it? It's in the notes.
Yeah, go ahead and read it. And then we can have
Vashon-Maury Island Heritage Trail community groups installing interpretive signs celebrating local history are proposing a King County sign code exemption be added to King County Sign Code section 21A.20.030 to allow these signs on private properties and in non-obstructive road right-of-ways in our local communities. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors and the Vashon-Maury Community Council support the efforts of Ellisport and Burton communities to seek exemptions to the King County Sign Code in order to move forward with their Heritage Trail projects.
Excellent.
So both Ellisport and Burton right now that are actively involved in this, Gold Beach and a number of other communities are planning on doing this in collaboration with the Heritage Museum.
Great.
Thank
you.
Need a second before we can do anything more, please.
Let's discuss it next month because we really, is that all right, Diane, if we move discussions to next time?
We just still need it. Who seconded it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second.
That's all I was asking for, was a second, and we can have our discussion next month.
Okay.
And vote.
All right. Victoria, I see your hand up. Is it something we can discuss next time or is it time sensitive?
Next time's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Everyone.
Okay. Thank you very much, Steve. Thanks for being
Steve.
again. Want to introduce Elena Camarillo, who is a candidate for a new board member. We've met with her, the board has met with her, and we're pretty excited to have her as a candidate to join the board. Elena, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. My name is Elena Camarillo. I have lived in the island part-time since last August. And I am moving full-time with my family in 32 days, 15 hours, 5 minutes, and 3 seconds. I grew up in a farming community in Mexico with a population similar to Vashon's. Then I moved to the US to work for Microsoft. And I was so thrilled about the opportunity to build world impacting software that I left my country, my family, and my boyfriend. And however, it took a while for me to warm up to the American political system. And until I had a toddler and a preschooler, I realized that I was raising American citizens, so I needed to contribute and also become one. And so I have been active in the community. I became a volunteer director of education in Seattle Escribe, and my job was to find resources to offer creative writing workshops in Spanish at no cost. Then I founded Congreso de Chingonas, which with the help of volunteers, we created a space for Hispanic women to share, celebrate, and dream about success. Then came the pandemic, and I supported the Latino vote from the corner of my bedroom, making phone calls and talk to people about the importance of their vote. And we figured a plan for voting in case they had any obstacles. And so I am here drawn to this council with my passion for expression and dialogue. I am inspired by this dialogue because it allows for civic engagement. I think it makes it accessible, and because it sparks action for the well-being of the island. And so I've been in the US for almost 3 weeks, and not weeks, sorry, years, and no, decades. You can tell I'm a little nervous. So, and I am ready, and actually I'm eager to step out of my comfort zone and not only be active in the Latino community, but also work for all of Vashon. And so I respectfully ask you to confirm me to serve on the board of directors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena. It's nice to have you meet the rest of the council. So we will do a quick vote to confirm Elena's nomination to the board. So do we have a poll, Diane, or should we just do raise of hands?
Just raise of hands. I didn't create a poll for her.
Okay, great. Let's do that then by raising of a hands, either yellow hand or real hand. Okay. Any concerns or nots? So everybody's hands are down. All right. Elena, welcome. We're really excited to have you join. Thank you so much for offering.
Thank you. I knew at least I wasn't going to get tomatoes my way because we're in Zoom. Thank you.
That's one advantage. All right. Well, thank you all. It is 9:15. We are a little over. Thank you for hanging in there tonight. That was really important work. Did we miss anything that we need to do tonight? Dr. Norris, are you still here? I think he had a quick announcement. We might have lost him. Okay, I think we did. All right. Thank you all very much. Have a good rest of your month. We will see you on June 20th is our next meeting. Hopefully we'll be back to hybrid and see some people in person. And thanks very much. Hope everybody feels better. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. This was a fabulous discussion. We got a lot accomplished.
Bye. Bye-bye.